Hello, this is Larry from Blue Collar Nation Radio, and I am here today with my intuitive business partner, Eric Sprague, the Tech Whisperer. What's happening today, Eric?
How you doing, man? This week I get to be intuitive. That's great.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I said, let's
I
not
might
go
have to look it up.
jerk off or anything. I want the proper direction because I have some compliments for you today.
My favorite part of the week is the podcast because it's when you say the nice thing about me every week.
So I get paid top dollar for. So I want to compliment you on our service business that we had for 12 years. We had a carpet cleaning and restoration business. You developed the culture with your tech whispering lessons very well. And the culture that we had, which I kind of might have caused in many ways, was not a great culture. But you, on the other hand, took it to another level with your tech whispering lessons, and guys bought into the company, bought into each other, and the culture went through the roof. Everybody liked coming to work, which was spectacular for a service business. Everybody's like, oh, I love coming to work. And the meetings in the morning are the best part of the job. And then what happens from there, I'd ask. Well, it goes downhill.
No, it doesn't.
No, they really enjoyed the lessons, and the lessons resonated throughout the day. And it was quite an experience. So there's a compliment to you.
Thanks,
one
man.
for the week.
I'll take it.
Right on.
More importantly, we've got an awesome guest today.
We have an amazing guest here, Angel Quiroz. He's a digital marketer, director of marketing with Angel Media, and we're very happy to have you here today with you, Angel.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I
no.
love all your stuff, for real.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep up with you, dude.
Oh, no. No, I definitely have had my work cut out for me since teaming up with Rich Malachi. So, he definitely keeps me going, keeps me motivated. So it's going to be good to see what the future holds.
Yeah, good. Well, we're excited too.
Yeah.
Angel, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your background, where you grew up, what you like to do, family, all that good stuff. They want to know you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it starts with college, right? I won't go into my time of birth or anything like that. But I went to college for fashion design in 2007, and I quickly found out that it wasn't for me because I couldn't sew very well.
Yeah.
So I switched majors because I liked my friend's homework and the way it looked, and he was a graphic designer. So I switched majors to graphic design, and I've just been looking to stay current with the times, looking to kind of keep up with everything going on. And that led me kind of down the path of videography. And then that turned into social media. And the way all of this technology is moving so fast, it turned into digital marketing pretty rapidly. But I'm classically trained in graphic design. And the biggest hurdle, I think, during that moment was trying to figure out what my niche was. And I got lucky enough to meet Rich Malachi from Malachi Parts Service in Bayonne at a Chamber of Commerce dinner, where I gave like a little digital marketing speech on some tips and tricks for small businesses. And we just kind of, got to talking. He hired me for one video, then another. And eventually, after a little while, I came on to work full time with him. So I left Malachi 3-4 weeks ago amidst the COVID stuff. And now I'm just trying to figure out my place within the industry, how to help people with what I know, and how to give that same kind of juice that I gave to the Malachi brand to anybody that needs it.
Yeah, well, we hope we can help with that today because we
Absolutely.
have a lot of people. And I want to give you kudos because, that's how I found you guys. Those videos with Malachi on Instagram and LinkedIn just caught my eye. Lots of people are putting up videos. Lots of people are doing that. Larry and I, we grew our service business with YouTube videos. Literally, 15 years ago or 13 years ago.
Wow.
But you had an angle and a take and a videography and the music, like all together, that really caught my eye. And I was, oh man, I wish we could have done that. So,
I was really trying to make little mini music videos every day for Rich,
So
but,
can we go back real quick?
Connect with the blue collar world, and you made a dent.
That was one of the major concerns when we first teamed up. We sat down and we had a really long and thorough discussion about what approach do we want to take for the blue collar world. Do we want this to be kind of a how-to tutorial kind of page, or do we want to kind of create a lifestyle around it and eventually get around to the how-tos and and do all that after people already have eyes on us. And I think we did well with kind of showing the benefits of the blue collar world to people that would normally not be paying attention to this side of an industry.
Yeah.
So that's where we started.
Well, and I would
Listen
think,
to, I'm sorry, Eric, I have
oh,
another
I was going
question
to
real
say,
quick.
you know, just the content of the videos, I think attracted a younger crowd. So I would think that it would actually be kind of a good tool for recruiting as well.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, while I was there, there was a lot of people that reached out to Rich, not only for, you know, biz development opportunities, but also specifically for technicians
Yeah.
and specifically for people that want to work within the office. And they like the video. So they like the culture of the company. And that just kind of gave the right impression up front. And that was a really conscious thing on my part, just making sure that we appeal to people that, first of all, would normally not consider the blue collar world, but then also would be younger. I know we employed 2 kids right out of high school, and they found us because of YouTube videos. So yeah, it was a big concern, and I'm proud of the way that came out.
Yeah, no, that's
You
awesome.
came from a blue collar background. Your dad was a mechanic and he owned his own business as well.
Yeah, so that's actually really funny for me because it's ironic. Growing up, I would want to hang out at his garage. You know, he owned a garage since you're from Jersey, you'd know where it is. It's in Prospect Park, which is right between Hawthorne and Patterson. And I would go in there every Sunday, just hang out with him. But I never really learned anything that was extensive. You know, I was always kind of playing guitar or doing something artsy, and cars didn't matter to me. But I had an appreciation for the work ethic and for the people that worked there and for the style of work they did. And I just appreciated that I wouldn't be able to do something like that. So I kind of came into Malachi just understanding the type of people that will take a job on that requires so much physical labor, but also, you know, mentally stimulating work. So that was, I think, a big advantage on my end when it comes to creating a brand around everything. It's like I want to target people that are willing to work hard, but also want to work hard for the right company.
Yeah. So, Angel, I'm going to back up a little bit. So you obviously have always been artistic, even as a kid.
Yeah.
Which you already said that. I was going to ask that question, but then when you say, yeah, I was doing something artistic and playing guitar in the garage as a kid. So,
yeah, I mean, I was drawing Ninja Turtles in pre-K, you know, so
right.
It was just.
So then
there.
How did you start getting, you know, because you went for fashion design. Can you take us on the journey of how you decided to kind of move to social media and digital marketing and what your vision for a career kind of, and I know it changes, but what that kind of looked like, and you're thinking like, these are the things I want to do. Like,
yeah, well, to start from high school, I think the reason that I got into fashion design was because I was designing t-shirts that I would sell at school. And I would it was back when the ripped jeans trend started coming into style. So I would actually take people's jeans, I would rip them up, and I charge them $20 for it. And so that got me thinking, like, maybe there's money in fashion.
Dude, you should have stayed in that.
Yeah, maybe I should have. But maybe there's money in fashion, but it wasn't really the fashion aspect that I was interested in. I was more interested in the marketing of it, you know, the presentation of it. But that wasn't really a conscious thought. So when I went off to college for fashion, I had in my mind, I'm going to design and I'm going to do all these things digitally, but I'm not going to have to actually physically make the garments.
Right.
I was dead wrong. So I failed out of fashion school, switched over to graphic design. And that's where when you're a designer, you kind of have to find your specific niche that you want to help. Because if I'm just a graphic designer in general, I can do something for a club flyer for some random club in New York City, or I could be doing what I was doing with Malachi. The range is so wide. So for a long time coming out of school, I had to figure out, where is it that I want to focus all of my energy? What needs me most? And specifically in the 2010s, 2015s, the digital marketing world was just getting so saturated with so many great, talented people that I was just like, I could either sit here and compete to do music videos with some people that are incredible at videography, or I can go to an industry that doesn't really have something like that and kind of be the first to do that. Yeah. And to me, that was just the logical decision. I'd rather have an impact on an industry than try and kind of claw my way up the hierarchy of a different one that's already kind of well established.
Yeah. Well, I think even now there still isn't that much competition in this space to be really creative.
Right. I think part of that is just it's a little bit of fear is what I noticed. It's fear of ruining the professionalism of the brand, which I see a lot. It's like, we don't want to be too silly, or we don't want to be too MTV-ish or trendy, because we don't want to come off as an unprofessional brand. And I understand that, but that's why I really have respect for Rich, because he was really willing to risk like everything to just put out something that nobody's done before when it comes to, all these cuts in the content, creating vlogs and stuff, which usually wouldn't pair well with this kind of industry. So that was really interesting for me to try and accomplish, for sure.
Well, and the thing is that, Larry and I have had this conversation. I mean, Larry and I were always kind of marketers at heart. I mean, yeah, we owned a cleaning and restoration business, but that was, we were a marketing company that happened to do cleaning and restoration. That was our mindset. And, we used to do things like we'd shoot a YouTube and I'd push Larry in a swimming pool, or I'd dump water on his head, or I'd choke him out in a wrestling move, or like whatever. Like, we were always, Larry'd be punching me, because our shtick was we were college roommates.
Right. Oh,
so,
cool.
And, the thing is that we worried about, Larry, we had that conversation all the time. Like, are we being too crazy? Are we being too much ourselves? But, that polarization of, either people are going to love you and notice you, or they're going to hate you. And there's probably nothing really in the middle.
That's the perfect word. Polarization is the perfect word.
But the thing is that isn't it better to be loved or hated than to just nobody thinks about you at all?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because
if you're trying to sell something.
Yeah, when we did the Fed conference, one of the biggest things that I was getting from just talking to people was that idea of like, we don't want to be polarized when we're creating our content. We don't want to like kind of push anybody aside that could be potential leads. And what I kept saying to people is like, you have to find the people that are going to appreciate your brand for the values that you want to portray. And you have to kind of solidify that, and you have to know what that is before you even create content. So you guys obviously had a fun-loving brand. You know who you're going to work with. There's that community. There's that relationship there. And some people don't want that. Some people want the exact opposite. They want to be very structured, and that's fine. You can build a brand around that. But I think it's just knowing ahead of time and not being afraid to just go for it. I think
you're
that's
attracting different people. If you're going to be completely structured and scripted and perfect, you're going to get, the way Eric and I were doing it, we were getting a different audience. Is what I was.
Exactly.
Yeah, but in the end, Larry, we had all the people that, were still very corporate. I mean, we were serving those people as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the fear. And I came from a very corporate environment, much more so than Larry. And Larry was usually the one pushing me, saying, no, don't worry about this. Like, let's, right, Larry? I mean,
that's your New England conservative tight ass.
Yeah, I grew up in Maine, where I'm a, conservative person in some ways. And, but I realized really quickly that, especially in a local market, and I mean, I think this begs to what you guys were doing, you got to get noticed.
Yeah, that was our main thing with Rich. It was eyeballs. It was attention. If we can get people's attention, then out of that attention can come leads. Out of it can come new employees or just new opportunities, new partnerships that you develop. I mean, Josh Zolan, I know you guys know Josh Zolan. Yep. That's a prime example of somebody we developed a relationship with just through content and just through collaborating. And I think I've met Josh maybe 3 times. And we have all this content together. We've worked together so much. It feels like I really know the guy. And that was just as big of a deal as, getting a new employee from LinkedIn or something. Yeah. But I do think YouTube is great. But towards the end, we started focusing more on LinkedIn because that's where the industry is. That's where everybody is now. Yeah.
Well, that was what I was going to, follow up with. So, okay, we both agree that you got to get eyeballs. So, if you're blue collar service business, whether you're a 2 truck or 20 truck operation, how do you do that? Like what's the process?
What's the process?
Yeah.
I think initially there has to be a willingness to be consistent with the content you put out. Doesn't have to be high production right away, but I think the most important thing is if you're going to post, I'd say to LinkedIn specifically, post every single day, at least once a day. And it's like you're building a muscle, and it's getting bigger and bigger and more people are going to be able to see it. You want to be able to keep that catalog, that back catalog of content where once people find you, they can go search something else and see another and another and another video until they're just like, oh, I love these guys. And they just hit you up. They message you on LinkedIn, or they give you a call, or whatever call to action you want to put at the end of your videos. It's all really suggestive of where you want to get your money from. And then of course there's the avenue which you guys obviously know about, which is developing some sort of a podcast or some sort of a digital audience where you can monetize that and get sponsorships. And that's a perfectly lucrative avenue to go through too. But I think if you're just like a 1 to 12 truck business, I'd say finding employees on there is good, because I know technicians are a big deal. And finding the right people to connect with. You could even search people by job title on LinkedIn, and I think that's what's great about posting on LinkedIn, is you have all of the information that you need to find the exact connections that you want. Some people don't want more business and they want more employees. Some people want more employees, but they have enough business. So
is that what you guys would start doing? You just said we're going to narrow this down to essentially one platform and just go deep on that one platform?
Well, our main concern was the Facebook group, because that's what we leveraged the most connections out of. And our secondary concern was LinkedIn. So any content that we made specifically for LinkedIn, which meant it was under 10 minutes. It was very interesting in the first 5 seconds, because as you're scrolling through LinkedIn, it'll start playing. And then we took that same thing and posted it on YouTube. We posted on YouTube more because it was a back catalog, and it was something that you can just scroll through and reference all the videos and hold them there and maybe embed it into another website. But LinkedIn was really where we got the most attention out of. We would get 3,000-4,000 views on a video. That's whereas YouTube, we'd maybe get, I don't know, 200 views most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about the Facebook group? What were you doing with that?
So what we initially decided to do was to create some sort of community that was specific for like-minded people within the industry. Now, by like-minded, I mean people that are going to be pursuing some sort of digital side of their business, or they're interested in learning about the digital side, or they're interested in just making connections within the industry. So we set up this Facebook group that would allow them to
Angel,
interact.
real quick. Would that industry be the heating, air conditioning, and refrigeration, restaurant parts and service? Is that what we're talking about, or?
We were specializing more in the food equipment service.
Okay.
So if it's maybe manufacturers, reps, dealers, maybe we would have some owners in there, but it was mostly those people, the people that needed to that would go to like Cefesa, or that would go to MOFC and all those big conferences.
Okay.
And we would take them in and invite them all in, make sure that they got acquainted, let them post about whatever it is they wanted. They could post questions about technicians. How do you deal with this in the company? And just help each other out. And from there, we built out a community that would ultimately be some people that are interested in digital. And the reason that they were interested in digital was because we wanted them to come to our conference, which is another way to monetize. So we set up this conference, we charged for it. We had people that were super interested in learning about this whole social media thing in context to the food service industry. And that went off great. That was in Miami in February.
Right. Yeah. That was literally, I was following that online. That was like right before COVID hit, right?
Oh,
literally.
Right before. Yeah, we went to Denver right after that, and people were already wiping down the airplane seats with hand sanitizer and all that. So we cut it close, but by the time we got back, everything shut down.
Yeah. No, that industry really hit hard.
Yeah.
Obviously. So all right. Well, let's go through a couple things. So let's say I'm chucking a truck. I'm a one guy plumber or carpet cleaner or whatever, and I realize that in my area I need to get more eyeballs on my business. What would you tell? I'm going to ask you a couple different scenarios, right? So
please, I love it.
What would you tell me, chucking a truck, that I should start doing? Like what platform to go? What kind of post should I be doing? How should I get people to see it? Because I mean, that's always a hard thing, is to get anybody to even look at it. Like
Yes.
a lot of people don't know how to do that. I think Larry and I feel that way sometimes.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's not. I mean, it's a noisy place, the internet. You know, so you have to really be consistent in order to get anywhere before you gain traction and you gain legs. If you were a single person with your own company, your one truck, I would say you start with a vlog, and you make sure that you vlog every single day. I know it sounds hard. It sounds like it's adding stuff to your workload, but the amount of access that you give people will be the amount of trust that you receive in return. So if you give people full access to your process throughout the day, they're gonna be like, I like the way that guy works.
Yeah.
Oh, he seems cool. And let me give him a call. So once you create the vlog, however you want to do it, whether it's through a video or even with your iPhone, if you don't have a camera, just use your iPhone, take little snippets of it. You can do it. You can post it on Instagram, on your stories, you know, and just upload it consistently. Every time you make a stop, you upload it. Or you can go to LinkedIn and you can post a full 10-minute video of this was my day. And then you start adding people that you would want to connect with that could be potential customers. And they start seeing all your content. A little by little. The more
What about Facebook?
Facebook I would recommend Facebook for the groups or for targeted ads. A Facebook page nowadays, which is like a fan page, like you like it, is very pay to play. So at first, if you're a single guy, that you're the only person in your business, I wouldn't really recommend spending that much money on ad spend unless you have that in the budget for marketing. So if you don't have
what about just in your area, like not spending any money, but you're like, let's say you're in the Chamber of Commerce and that you're just posting there because, you know, I mean, like for our business, it was predominantly women of 45 to 65, you know, they were on, to us, we assumed they were on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'd try to get in their feed somehow.
Yeah, that's the tricky part with Facebook. So the tricky part is getting on people's feeds, especially since 2018, where Facebook kind of made a switch where the things that would be prioritized within your feed are the things that your friends share. So you need to find some way to get into people's personal Facebooks and have them share your stuff, which means you have to make super relatable, super kind of funny content that will easily translate to somebody's personal page. That's
Right.
not too salesy either. The reason that a lot of these digital marketing guys are all over your feeds is because they're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on ad spend. So they're just popping up. Let's say you like one page that says entrepreneur on it. Now they target whoever likes that page and it's just popping up all over your feed.
Does that work?
I don't think so.
You know, I mean, Larry, you could speak for yourself, but I don't think I've ever clicked on one of those ever.
I think it works very well with a specific demographic, which is like 18 to 25-year-old male, you know, young aspiring entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And then maybe they buy a couple programs and then they're like, I can learn this on YouTube. So I'm a very kind of grassroots guy. I like to do things very organically. I don't like to just pump ads and just place them all over because I feel like nobody likes ads. Nobody likes to be sold to. You know, nobody likes to be marketed to. They want to choose to engage with your content and they want to choose to do business with you. So you just got to give them the right choices to make.
Well, all right. That brings up a great question that Larry and I have. Larry, kick in at any point if you want, but like, We're always like, how often do you know, because look, we have a business still. We do morningtechmeeting.com. We want people to sign up so that their technicians can get better, right?
Of course.
And you know, we have a business. We're always like, well, how much should we pitch that and how often and how should we go about that? And, you know, because we're sensitive to the fact that nobody likes to be pitched all the time. Like we get that.
No,
but then
get it ourselves.
Sometimes we feel like, oh, but we're like never pitching. You know, like that's not good either. Yeah.
I mean, there's the famous Gary Vee quote, jab, 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 right hook, which means you give, and then you ask, right? You don't take or you don't force people, but you ask for the sale. But I think even more specifically to you guys, so you're doing this tech, what's it called? I'm sorry.
It's called morningtechmeeting.com.
Okay, so
it's a membership site for companies to have video training for their technicians.
Great. Are you doing Zoom calls with the guys? Are you doing group sessions? Anything that can be filmed?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's all filmed. We send out a daily video to every company that's a member, and then they play it in their morning meetings. And I talk about
wow.
sales training, how to behave in a home, where to park the van.
It's mostly people skills for technicians.
Yeah, soft skills
Soft
for
skills.
technicians. Yeah,
Right. What I would do right away is I would take some of the more selective snippets of those videos, and I'd put them on your social media for free, just to give people, like, to entice people to say, oh, well, I like what they're doing. Just very clickbaity stuff, very things that people are going to love, but don't give them the full picture. I'd say give them enough to where it'll help them. But if they want to learn more, then they can actually join your program.
sure.
That's the same thing for other blue collar service business owners when they have the snippets of what they got and then just put it out there. It's like a teaser is what you're saying.
Absolutely. One of the things that Rich and I have done that I love so much is we film his morning meetings with his crew, and I would take little highlights of that and post it because it shows the culture of the company. So my big thing, and this is a Gary Vee thing too, you probably know, is document, don't create. So anything that you guys are doing has the potential to be documented somehow and to be made into content somehow. Even like what we're doing here can go up on YouTube, but then we can chop it up into little snippets and put it everywhere. Put it on Instagram, make a quote out of it. Let's say when you guys say something really interesting, you make a little tile thing with a nice quote, and then Blue Collar Nation under it. And there's just so many levels of the content that you can make just from one simple video that I think that's a good way to start. So I'll break that down even more for maybe people that are losing me. It's a three-step thing. So you have your pillar content, which this I think I would consider your pillar content, which is long form, at least 15, 20 minute long content. And then you have micro content, which is the little snippets from that pillar content. And then you have the mini posts, which is like your Instagram stories or your little updates on Facebook or Twitter, which is little selective pieces of the pillar content that are made in text. And then you can even take this and make it a blog and put it on your website, and write it out. So there's so many things that you can do with just one big piece of content and make it into 50 different videos.
Well, that begs the question that we also ask ourselves all the time. Is like, how much to post? Like, how much before people start just tuning you out? Like, oh, there's another Eric and Larry post. Like, I've seen 3 today or 1 this week. Like, we never know, like 1 a day, 2 a day, every day, 4 days a week. Like, we're always going back and forth at like watching other people and going, at what point am I tuning that guy out? Because I just see so much of him or her.
Yeah. Rich was a bigger advocate of this than I was, but for Rich, it was never enough. So never enough content. You can always do more.
So he's kind of the Grant Cardone school of just flood the market with
flood
you.
The market. Yeah.
Okay.
And that can be exhausting, especially if you're doing all the work yourself and you're editing it and creating it. But the thing you have to remember too is not everybody is seeing the post that you're putting up. So you could put up a post at 10 a.m. and maybe 5 people will see it. And then maybe they'll see more, 5 more people will see it at noon. And then you put up another post at 2 p.m. and 50 people will see it because they're just getting back from lunch. Yeah. So the more you post, the more at-bats you have to really get people's attention. And I think once you start feeling like you're being spammy, that's probably the sweet spot, because then maybe people are seeing half of what you're posting.
Well, how would you know?
People will tell you.
People tell you.
I
really hope to never see your face again.
We've had people comment, snarky little comments like, oh, again with this guy, or we're doing a live and it's like, I'm about to unfollow you guys. You're alive every day. And, little things like that. But, that's one person out of the 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Well, I was going to say it almost makes you want to double down and even do more.
Yeah.
Like, that used to be
80-20 rule. 20% are going to get tired of it, but 80% are like, oh, okay, this is good stuff.
Exactly.
And it's just going to be shrunk down.
Yeah. And I mean, our sales was always that way. Like, I didn't want to get 100% of the estimates I did. That means I'm underpriced. I want some people to tell me no.
That's great.
I want to have a certain amount of people that just be like, you're too much.
Yeah. You want to,
you don't want too many of those, but you have to have 20-30% saying, no, you're too much. And then if you get the 70 or 80, you go, I'm priced right about right.
Yes.
So it sounds like that.
Yes, that's a great way to look at it. I think you guys are at an advantage because you do have that innate marketing, but also sales ability. So I think you guys will know the sweet spot when you feel it. One post a day isn't much, so I'll just leave that.
Is not much.
It's not much at all. So I'd say if you can do more, are you guys thinking one post a day means one post on one social network, or does that mean one post on each one?
Wow.
I
Wow.
post, well, for this business, I do most of the posting, and I generally do 1 to 2 posts on, we use LinkedIn and Facebook. Those are the 2 ones that we have, because we already had a pretty big like network on Facebook before we started our new business. So I generally do 1 LinkedIn a day and 2 Facebooks a day.
But hang on, when we
Not
had
on
our
weekends,
service,
just Monday through Friday.
when we had our service business, it was tougher to get to it. We have to have our guys send us videos, guys send us pictures, and then
that was definitely one of the big hurdles for us.
The guys hate stopping to take a picture. Yeah.
Oh man, some of the looks that I've gotten from technicians, and I don't blame them because they're there, under a kitchen stove, and I'm there with the camera, like, so tell me what's going on, and they're just like, get out of my face, bro. Like,
like I'm gonna hit you with a pipe wrench soon.
But you find out which one. We had a couple of our guys who would send us pictures all the time. They were into it. You'd find, 1 or 2 out of the 15 technicians that were into it.
Yeah,
that was pretty much my job. Yeah. My job was to get an advocate within the technicians to just be my guy, that I can just go out with him and just get all the footage that I can. And I think that's one of the important things. Obviously, in a service company, you're going to have people that just don't want to be on camera. Obviously, this is their line of work. Why would they want to be in front of a camera? And then you're gonna have other people that be like, "Oh, I actually look good on camera," and they're gonna like it and feed into it a little bit more. And
it's the same thing with the clients.
Yes.
When you want to video a client, you get the same percentage. I don't want a picture of me. My hair doesn't look good. And then the other ones, you can't get the camera off of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you learn when people are kind of hesitant right away. After doing it for a little while, you're like, maybe I'm just gonna like leave the camera inside. There'll be times I drive with Rich, 45 minutes to have a meeting with a random manufacturer, and we'd get there and say hi, and the way he like looked at the camera and looked at me, I was like, all right, I'm gonna leave it in the car. So it does take some discretion, and just
need more Mariah Careys out there that want their video taken.
Yeah,
exactly. Some more Justin Biebers out there.
Yeah. So what would you tell the company that has 10 vans and they're pretty well established and they kind of built their business more on kind of traditional older forms of marketing, like newspaper ads and the yellow pages and all that, and but they've been around so that people know them. But Larry and I had the same conversation all the time. Like, our customer base was older, and before we sold, if we had kept going, it would have changed, because all of a sudden we would have had to relearn how to market, because we were already seeing our customers either move to Arizona to a retirement community, or they were passing away or going to a nursing home. So all the stuff that we did to get them as clients no longer would get the next client who's 20 years, 30 years younger.
Right.
So, if I own that company, Angel, and I came to you and said, hey man, we got to do something. We need younger clients to make sure we're keeping the pipeline full. What would you tell me to do then?
I would my head immediately went towards using the legacy of the company and kind of just taking that and using it to your advantage. Saying, we've been here for 40 years, 50 years, and people love us, or 30 years. And using that as part of the content, maybe doing some more refined looking content that's more like sit down, the person looking off camera interview style, and just talking about what's so great about the company, what they love about it, maybe doing occasional follow-ups with people that are inside in the actual offices, and just saying, well, how have things been with the culture of the company, and creating content from that space, as opposed to somebody who's maybe smaller and they can just try a bunch of different things until one sticks. If you're a bigger company, it means you have more money for production value, which means you have more time to plan, and you can kind of structure these things with nice lighting, have it be kind of a professional setup. So I'd say going with that before you kind of throw out all of your history to try and get on TikTok and get 18-year-olds. I'd say start with the legacy of the brand and just start from a place of like authenticity. Like, we're here, we're another generation of this, and we want you guys to tag along, and these are the reasons why. great pay, great benefits, and you just list it out, plain and simple. A big part of like getting to Gen Xers or it'd be Gen Zers, right? Gen Zers younger than me and millennials. A big part of getting to them is just cutting everything out and just saying, this is what's good about working here. This is what's good about, and just being super straightforward.
Is that because you guys grew up with like just so much noise?
Oh yeah, we grew up cynical. Like we were cynical by the time we were 14, and there's just such an overwhelming amount of information that people are just ready to click through and just finish off. So we had one video with Malachi, and this was the video that actually these kids saw. He was literally sitting on top of a combi oven, and he was just listing out the reasons that the blue collar world is better than going to college. And I would just put up words like, $0 in debt, and get paid to learn, and just listing them out bullet point by bullet point. This is exactly why you should be here, and this is exactly why you don't belong in college, but you belong here, or whatever you want to make your pitch. And that I think that was our highest Instagram post, and it was like a minute, and I think maybe we got 2,000 likes on it.
So did that translate into a lot of applicants coming in to his company?
Yeah, I mean, people kept finding that video, maybe even after 6 months of it being posted. People kept finding it, and people kept messaging Rich and saying, I love what you're doing. Some of them didn't work out. Some people came, they interviewed, and they didn't work out. But there's one guy that's still there that I know of, that he came because of the YouTube, and he's like, listen, I like how much effort you put into training your technicians. The company I'm at right now, I love it, but they don't put that much effort into training. And I've been seeing on your videos that you love to train, you send your technicians out, blah, blah, blah. And that's what brought him in the door. And then they had the interview, and he's on staff now. And there was one other person, I'm not sure if he's still there with the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
But because it's tough to get people in these blue collar businesses. Sometimes we would be so frustrated, and Amazon would open up down the street, and all of a sudden the whole potential pool
it
of
wipe
people,
out the whole entry level, guys that we would invest in over, the course of 5 years or something.
Right.
They just saw like, hey, I don't have to crawl under a house in sewage. I can just take a job and get, the same pay and stand there and push packages down a conveyor belt or whatever they do,
Right.
So
but they wouldn't get any experience in life.
Yeah.
And that
the upside of if they had come aboard with us would have been way higher, but they just couldn't see. It was hard for them to see that. We probably weren't doing a great job of.
Well, maybe if we did the videos like these guys did, that might have helped.
One thing that helped a lot too was actually going to tech schools, high schools, and talking to them. And then not only talking to them, but filming that and posting that, so that younger people see younger people listening to somebody, and they want to listen to them too. So that was a big tool as well. And that got us a lot of attention. It didn't necessarily get us a lot of the kids, but they're still in high school right now. We did this 6 months ago, a year ago. So who knows, maybe we planted a seed. And I think looking at it from a meta perspective, it kind of helps. The more people do this and the more people plant seeds within each one of their communities, the more eventually we'll have a generation of kids that don't frown upon going into the blue collar world, and they're willing to work with their hands, and they're willing to take on these jobs. And I think it's just like collectively, and I said this at the Fed conference, which I think resonated with a lot of people. We have to collectively change the narrative behind the blue collar world with every one of our businesses and the way we even market. I was watching a documentary about the biggest ad campaigns in the world, and one of them that came up was Got Milk. I see you have Got Flood on your shirt.
Yep.
But the Got Milk ad campaign wasn't even for a specific brand of milk. It was just for the milk industry. It was for the dairy industry of America. And they all band together to change the narrative that you actually need milk, because before that it really wasn't that way. So I think something like that has to happen. I don't know who's going to be the person to do it within the blue collar world, but something has to happen where everybody kind of comes together, pools all their resources, and then blasts out this huge marketing strategy for the blue collar world. And I think that's the ultimate solution.
There's a lot of us that are doing it on small levels.
Yes.
And you guys with Malachi, and then Josh Zolan with his
Yeah.
podcast and his book.
And Larry and I are trying to do that. That's why we started the radio station. Josh's podcast is on our radio station. Radio station's a week old.
Wow.
So,
Congratulations.
but, we're trying to get, because you know how it is.
Yeah.
Like if you go on iTunes, it's not easy to find all the blue collar content. Like unless they have blue collar in the name and search, you might never find it. So
that's so true.
We started reaching out to the people that we know, and we're going to continue to do that to try to get them to bring all of it to one place, because then everybody can leverage their audience, and a high tide raises all ships.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody cross promotes each other. Exactly. Absolutely. I think that's genius what you guys are doing. It's really a new media approach to marketing. I think that's so important right now.
Yeah.
It's all my idea.
Well, then you're the genius.
That was not your friggin' idea. What are you talking about? I called up Larry out of the blue. I'm like, dude, we're starting a radio station. And he said, what do you mean? I said, yeah, we're gonna start a radio station. Yeah. And he goes, do you know how to start a radio station? I was like, no idea how to start a radio station.
So anyway, this morning we had I'm sorry?
I said, I know how to start a radio station, google.com, right?
Yeah, google.com.
Well, yeah, exactly. YouTube.
Actually, the company we're working on is pretty cool. So we had our first live broadcast this morning, and it exploded. It didn't even get off the ground. It was a disaster.
We've been doing, like I lay in all the podcasts all week, and all that was fine. And Larry and I were like, let's do a live show every Friday morning and just talk about positive things.
Right.
Oh, Angel, it was not good, bro.
The idea of live is always thrilling. But then once you press that record button and you're actually streaming.
No, it was a technical thing. We couldn't get it streaming properly.
We couldn't get it streaming.
People were coming in and going out and coming in. I was like, oh, shit.
And Larry's just, I can hear it. And I'm trying to get on frantically, because I'm in Utah, Larry's in California, and I couldn't get in. And I just hear Larry live going, I think Eric's around here somewhere.
That's great.
So I went online and on LinkedIn and Facebook did a big post about how you can't let fear of failure stop you.
Yeah.
I'm going to get something good out of this,
Yeah.
We needed you there, Angel, for us to get us through the technical stuff.
I'd be glad to help for sure.
Well, actually, that's a segue it's a perfect segue. Like when you guys were doing all the Malachi videos and stuff, like, can you give us behind the scenes, like what you were using, lighting, cameras, all that stuff. And then like don't give away your trade secrets, but just like how you put it all together. Cause the quality was really good.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. A large part of it was really just Rich being willing to invest in the quality assurance. But when it comes down to the specifics, I shot everything with a Sony A7 III, which is a 4K camera. Probably one of the newer alpha models from Sony. Had the standard lens on it, which was great because it had the 50 millimeter and it also zoomed out. It wasn't that wide, but it was wide enough. Most of the time when we're doing vlog stuff, we would use a shotgun mic, which is I have one over there. It's just like a Rode mic where it just sits on top of the camera, and wherever you point it, that's what's recording. Once we started doing the podcasting and we started doing lives with that, we used something called StreamYard to go live. And we just paid for the year, and we used this device called a Rodecaster Pro, which is 4 channels, 4 microphones, some hot buttons for different sound effects, and you can connect that right to your computer with no interface or anything. And that was really just like a big transformative moment because that thing opened up so much for us. We were able to do podcasts like this, and we would have crisp quality. We'd have a 4K camera. We'd have crisp audio. And so our lives all of a sudden became better. Even our Zooms became better. As far as the editing goes, I'd use Adobe Premiere Pro, and I'd sit there and we would usually film, I'd say, a week's worth of content within a day. And that would be me just tagging along with whatever Rich is doing, him taking phone calls, blah, blah, blah. And then throughout the week, I'd just sit in that office and just splice it all up and just create different kinds of content throughout the week from that one day, from let's say Monday all the way through Friday.
Yeah. And, it's interesting because it makes it look like Rich is spending all of his time making content, but he's not. I mean, you can't run a business and do that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it was hilarious the amount of times that people would say that. They're like, yeah, Rich, but when do you actually run your business? I'm like, you don't understand. I'm posting this on his page right now. He's not even here. He's at some meeting or he's, with the technicians or something.
And
So
would you use some sort of software to like load all, like with a calendar, to have all your social posts loaded, and then it would just go to all the
So
platforms?
we would have a scheduling calendar for the types of content. So if you were following along early 2018, we had, you know, Monday was Monday motivation, Tuesday was tip Tuesday, Wednesday was the vlog, Thursday was something else, Friday was or Thursday was a podcast, Friday was something else. So we had that breakup. As far as actually posting and sending through, Facebook has an automated post feature. YouTube has an automated post feature. LinkedIn doesn't. So anytime we would post to LinkedIn, it would be either Rich doing it or me doing it. But I
Okay.
don't necessarily like to use third-party apps like Hootsuite and stuff, because Instagram definitely knows when you're using third-party, and it'll kind of throttle your results down, and not as many people will see it because you're not actually posting it.
Oh,
And
interesting.
same thing with Facebook. But I'm not against it. You know, if you want to just blast out content, you need to do a lot more, or you're going to be away on vacation, schedule it and just send it out. But using the scheduling features within the actual social media apps is so much more effective than using a third party.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Dude, you're giving like a master class today on how to do this. We
This
appreciate
is a I'm obsessed with this stuff, you know.
that.
Oh, that's
No, it
great.
shows. I mean, well, let's, I don't want to take your whole day, Angel. Larry and I could talk about marketing all day,
Oh,
but
same here, same here.
let's talk about where you're going now. Cause I mean, you said at the beginning, COVID, Malachi's in the restaurant industry. So, you
Yeah,
kind of Angel Media's on its new path.
yeah.
So, you know, who are you looking to work with, and what types of things are you doing, and all those great things? Because
Yeah,
a lot of
well,
people are
like
interested.
I said, I'm a graphic designer by trade, so that's always been kind of before Maliki. That was my bread and butter, doing brand identity, logo work, stuff like that for companies. But that's kind of a one-time thing. So, with all the new experience that I've gotten through Maliki and some of the clients I had before that, I've kind of started going into just consulting or helping with marketing strategies, whether that be for a limited time or for an extended amount of time. I'm trying to help, and I'd like to stay in the blue collar world. I would for sure love that.
Yeah. I
But
think it's a good
I want,
niche for you.
yeah, I enjoy it, and I enjoy the people, you know. So all of that is in the right place. I just kind of have to get that message out there. So I'm definitely willing to talk to anybody in the blue collar world, schedule marketing strategy meetings, do any kind of consulting with them that I can, and I'll even make content. You know, I can make content if they're local to me in Jersey. Then I can definitely go out, film stuff with them, edit, do all that
Sure.
kind of stuff too. So
Yeah.
anything within the realm of digital marketing, that's what I'm doing for the blue collar world.
So if you had a customer in California, say, and they shot a bunch of stuff, could you actually even like then take their raw footage and create for them, and they pay you
Oh,
for that?
absolutely. Absolutely. The only downside to that is really it depends on who's shooting it. So if somebody's really good at it and they're really good at grabbing raw footage, no problem at all.
Right.
If it's something a little subpar, it becomes a little more difficult, but it's part of the job. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
definitely doable.
I have a quick question, and
Sure.
Eric might have hit on it earlier. Um, so you got like what we used to do. We take the little flip camera and we take videos of ourselves all the time. And a lot of these guys, they're smaller businesses. They're not going to go out and get the A73 camera. They're not going to be high end.
Right.
Would you suggest the flip camera isn't being made anymore? But what would you suggest that they do? Do they use their phone? Is there any particular type of hardware and software they would use to create quick videos that they can put out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the iPhone X or up has just as good of a camera as like a Canon Rebel from like 3 years ago. So you're looking at really top quality footage from an iPhone that you can use as much as you want. The only thing I get maybe to add on to that is like a little $15-$20 microphone that attaches to your phone if it's just going to be you speaking. If
Yeah.
it's going to be more than that, then you need a different setup with maybe like some sort of overarching mic or something. But for the most part, that iPhone will do everything for you. Then once you have that footage, you can edit within your phone, even with iMovie, which is a free app that you can download,
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
you can
easy.
just splice things up there. The only thing I'd recommend everybody stay away from, because I've seen this, is music. So if you're going to use music, grab some sort of subscription to royalty-free music, which I'm sure most people know, but I've seen it here and there within the industry. So I figured it's worth mentioning. Just be careful, because if you post something with a different song, they'll pull it right down, and your YouTube will get flagged, or your Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
But yeah, the iPhone is really all you need to start.
Okay. No, that's cool. I was just curious because many listeners are like, oh, that's just, it's gone. It's out of their head already.
Yeah.
So you want them to do this. It helped us. We had a couple carpet cleaning videos that had like 20,000 hits, 20,000 on YouTube. And I was like, wow. And we didn't even know.
Dude, I used to get people calling me at the office, out of the blue from like Alabama saying, hey, I saw this, tile cleaning video you guys did, and I want to know how to do that.
That's exactly it, man. That's how we should be using it.
And I wouldn't even be checking the YouTube. And I'd be like, you're looking at my YouTube video? And I'd go in there and it'd be like 24,000 views or something. I'm like,
yeah.
And a couple guys I saw at the end, they were taking our video and putting it on their website as if it was them.
Oh gosh.
And I was like,
well, I'm not as into that.
I kind of noticed it because it would show what links are to the video on one of the pages or something. And I was like, there was like 3 or 4. I go, who are these guys? And I wasn't even sure how to get rid of it. I was like,
were they crediting you?
I didn't look into it that deep.
They were passing us off. It was them.
No, I think they, Oh, I mean, I didn't say anything because sometimes I'd take pictures from other people's sites. Oh, this is a great picture. And I'd put it on mine. I mean, you share and share alike. And that's how it goes.
Right.
So I didn't cause
that's probably one of the more dangerous things. Luckily, Rich's face is in every video, so people can't really steal it because, he's going to be there.
Yeah, just blasting it up there. No, that's cool.
Well, Angel, thanks, man, for taking the time to come talk to us. We'll have
Tons
to do another
cool
one.
Content.
Go
Absolutely.
Deep.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
No, you're welcome. We're honored.
So how do people catch up with you?
Yeah, how do people?
So you guys can add me on Instagram. That's really where I'm most responsive. It's angelmedia_ at the end. And I'm also on Facebook, Angel Quiroz, Quiroz, or Angel Media on Facebook as well. And those are probably the places that I'm most active right now. I'm still working on my website, with the whole COVID thing. I'm back in new space. So I'll have a website up with all my packages within a month or so.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And everybody, if you want to see Angel's work, you should go check out the Malachy stuff because you were
absolutely
instrumental
YouTube.com/MalachyTV.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Well, thank you
so much.
Appreciate you coming on. Have a good day.
Have a great day. We'll see you, buddy.
All right.